Hello. I'm going to be showing you how I make the exploration macros for FREP. It's a really versatile tool, so we're going to check this one that I've done for societal ruins. Now, if we go and see the sequence, here are all the steps required for that macro to work. Now, FREP is really flexible. It lets you use a lot of steps. You can use variables. You can use if statements. And first, we need to declare, for example, how is it going to work. So here in the first step, we can set the variables that we're going to use for the conditional if statements that we're going to need for the combats. So the first one is MXCB, which I abbreviate from max combats, which for the first part of societal ruins will be 14 fights. And the next one is CUCO, which would be current combats. This is the variable we're going to be using to add 1 to it every time that we finish a battle. Alright? So, if you choose any of them, you can see exactly how they stated here in the application. And the next step, we have a loop here. As you see, we can expand our... And I have 2 steps in it. Why? Well, if you see, the first one is UD, and the bottom one is left right. This is the movement that we can have on each section. So we need to move on a repetitive pattern so that we can make sure that we can get into battles. So if we preview the trace here, we can see that we have the first movement and then the second one, and it repeats until it finishes the 4 loops that we have here. Now, why do I have it like this? Well, when you want to copy this to make a different section, let's say we want to make it a 2-part script because there's one part with 14 combats, the next one with 15. Well, doing it like this, we can just choose it all, copy it, and then instead of having to insert the movement into the other one, we can just click on the numbers and it will disable and enable the next one. This will help us so that we can have an easier job when we're trying to do further macros. Alright, so now once we have the loop, you can check the control settings and set how many loops you have there. And once the loop finishes, it will go to the next step. Here, if we preview it, it's going to look for the auto button. Okay, so once it finds the auto button, it will either be if it does find it, it will go to step 7. If it doesn't, it will go to step 2, which is the start of the loop. Okay, now in step 7 we have the search full spare bar. Now there is last time I made a post, I said that you needed to have the color similarity to 85%. I was wrong. I mean, for the auto button, you need to have it on 80%, and for the spare bar, you need to have it at 70. Why? If you have it on a higher value, you can have a lot of false positives and endless loops, which will break your macro and you will not be able to advance from that point. So, just be sure to set it up here so that you can have the auto button at an 80% color similarity and the spare bar on 70% color similarity. Right now, once this one, if it does find the spare bar, it will go to step 9. Now, here I have 2 steps of summon because the first one, if we check the trace, it's using the friend unit for the summon, because if you're going to do an exploration with 1 unit and you're not going to take any friend units, I mean, if you're going to take no other units in your party, you're going to need to use either the spare on your friend unit or the one in your unit, but it's usually better to use the one in your friend because when you take single units, you usually equip an spare that can heal so that you can heal yourself and not have your unit die. So in the event that you have a macro which is a little bit more complicated, in which you have several units for jail farming or something like that, you will need to use your your party members spare. So here I went ahead, no wait, here, if we check the second one, I edited the other step so I can have this movement higher. So if you have a step here that you would like to move, you can just move it up and down. This will help you to edit some macros easily so that you can have a little bit less work having to map exactly where do you want it to move or something like that. Anyway, so here in this case, Societal Ruins, I'm using it to farm guilds, so I'm taking more than one unit. So in this case, if you check, I'm using the fourth unit in my group as the Esper Summoner. Okay, now once if it fails to find the Esper, it will go to step 10. So what happens in step 10? We have a wait, then we have the script or the recording of the battle plan that I have. Now, for Societal Ruins, I'm taking a party that consists of I believe it's one unit with GL Farmer, one MP, one MP battery, and Sean, besides the unit I'm trying to level up. Why? Well, by doing that, we can do a trace like this one, in which, for example, the first step, I move to the right with Sean, then I move. If you can barely see the point here, but I use this one to move the ability panel down, and then select Waylay, so I can do steal on every battle, and we can have the most amount of Jill per exploration run. Now the next point is going with Ace, doing the same. I slide here a little bit so that I can select his MP battery move, which is Spirit Hand in this case. And after that, I select the whole party to activate it. And that's basically what it does. Once I finish doing that, I have this touch option here, which will press the auto button twice. This will ensure that we can enable, if any unit has a limit burst ready, like you saw that I had Paul and Charlotte there, if they have the limit burst ready, they can use it. And that way you can also slowly but grind the advancement on your limit burst level. Anyway, once we press auto twice, we wait for 14 seconds. Here you can select how much time you're going to wait. I usually leave 14 seconds because that's how long it takes for the whole battle that I have at the moment take. It can be longer, it can be shorter. If you have units with long limit bursts like Kefka, be sure to leave it higher, because if not, you're going to have a lot of lost time when it finishes, because once it finishes, it will look for the auto button again here, and if it does find the auto button again, that means that you haven't finished the battle. There's an enemy or two left. So what do we do? Well, here I have the step 15, in which if you compare it to the previous one, now I'm pressing the repeat button. Now, since we're taking an MP battery, repeating the move is not going to really affect us on the amount of MP that we will have available. So we will be able to repeat it once and again and again. But this is just to make sure that we know why it's there. Now we wait again for 14 seconds, and it touches on the screen right in the middle. Why do I do this? I haven't found an exploration in which the battles take more than 2 turns, okay? If it did, we can just go back to add another auto search like this one. I mean, we can just copy it, put it here instead of the tab, and if it does find the auto button, go back again to the step 15, and if not, go to the next one. But in this case, I haven't really found it, so let's assume that it's not going to happen. Now here, once we tap, it goes to step 18, in which here, here's what I do the counting of the battle. So once the battle ends, it will do, if we click this one, we have current combat is equal number, which the number is going to be current combat plus 1, okay? So it's going to be remembering that that count that we have until it goes to 15. So after we do that, and after we press, we're going to wait for 5 seconds. I'm sorry, no. The next step is this one, the if statement, I'm sorry. If it will count here, for example, if current combat is equal to max combat. So we just go and add and if current combat equals to max combat, and if that is true, it will go to step 20, where it will wait 5 seconds, and then it will initiate the movement that I have set up for the exploration. I mean, you're going to have to move and collect all the item collection points, and then move to the second area where you're going to be able to farm. I'm going to leave 2 links in the descriptions with screenshots of the movement path that I've set, so that you can try and have an idea how it's done. Anyway, if it doesn't, it goes back to step number 2, which we know that it's the start of the loop, so not much more to do after that. Now, once it finishes, the movement, it will wait for 5 seconds and start again. We have everything again as we had it, but this time we start by setting up the variables. So instead of using max combat 14, we're going to use 15 so that we can make sure that it does 15 fights. Then it goes again, and now since we're going to be in another area, which once you see the screenshots that I'm going to leave in the description, you're going to be able to see why now I'm moving from left to right instead from up to down. Okay, so it does everything again. It does the battle. The summon's still on our unit that we have on our party. I mean, we can always preview and check which unit is the one that's going to be doing the summoning. It waits and then does a battle plan, auto, wait, check for the auto button. If it's there, it press repeat. If not, it will just go back to touching the screen so that you can go out of the battle. Now, sometimes it will be timed in a way that you will not be this tab that we have here after the battle, it will not be when the battle end screen is. So don't worry, if that does happen, it will go back to the loop, and once you're moving from left to right or up or down, you will be able to exit the battle. So there's going to be no loop there. Anyway, once it finishes, we have again the variable which we're adding until it gets to 15, and once it gets to 15, it will just wait for 5 seconds and do the second part of the movement, in which we're gonna have all the steps that we have set up so we can get all the collection points in the second area, and after that it's gonna end. Okay, so it is a simple macro, and it can be done really easy. Now once you have this one thing that you can do to have your macros be, or your macro making be a little bit faster, is select everything you have here before the movement that we have. Now, once we get to this wait period, we can just click here and click any name you, well, I'm sorry, I have a problem with my keyboard that it makes the app work really weird. So now we apply and it will be clipped as a procedure. How is that going to help us? Well, if we create a new sequence, first we delete the wait that's always by default, and then we play and look for procedures, and here we have the one that I have for the example. The only thing that we will need to do here to avoid an endless loop is remove the loop that we have here. So we just delete those, and we have the script ready so we can add the movement to the next section, and we can edit it like, you know what, I needed to move from left to right instead of up and down, or I need to have the summon be my friend unit that I bring instead of my unit. And just remember, when you do this, you need to go here to the one that looks for the spare bar and edit it here to go to step number 10. Now you can also set it up as next. I mean, it does happen, but I've had weird cases where it breaks. I mean, it has happened once out of, I don't know, 100 and something times. So I usually like to just set it up here and make sure that it matches what I have. So with this, we can have the first step of the macro ready. Then we can insert, let's say for example, if I have here that is the movement for societal exploration rules, I can just select it and it's going to be there. That way we can make the macro so that it will move where we want it. So I hope this is helpful. Be sure to reach out to me if you have any doubts. I usually can be reached on Reddit. My user tag in Reddit is Dracox. That's DRAKOX, and that way you should be able to find me and send me a message in Reddit, or leave a message here, and I'll be sure to try and help. I mean, many people say that exploration macros are cheating. I don't really think they are. I mean, you're not breaking the game or injecting anything, so you're just doing the grind. So I hope it helps. If you have any doubts, be sure to contact me and have a great day.